right now on 5 on your side at 10.
The city of St. Louis missing out on a pot of cash. The marijuana mistake that could lead to a budget buzzkill. A woman fights for her life as her family fights for justice. Tonight we're learning more about the driving record of the suspected drunk driver who hit her.
And we're going to do everything in our power to hold the defendant accountable.
But first, badly needed rain continues for many right now. Just how long the rain lingers.
And that cold rain continues to fall tonight in St. Charles, St. Louis, and all across the region. It's causing a mess on the roads at the start of the busy Thanksgiving travel week. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush, and Allred has the night off. Widespread showers could continue into the morning. Let's get straight over to Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with what you can expect overnight.
Well, we think, Mike, most of this rain is going to be pushing out before daybreak tomorrow, so that should leave us in a pretty good setup for tomorrow morning's rush hour compared with this evening. This evening was a combination of the rain moving in and the fact that we haven't had rain for nearly 3 weeks for most of us without any substantial rain. That left a lot of grease and oil on the road, and you know oil and water don't mix. Most of that now has washed away, so we've ended our weather alert for the St. Louis area for this evening since traffic has let up now. But there were quite a few accidents around the area earlier this evening. The heaviest band of rain is off to the east and northeast of St. Louis. There's another one trailing here on the backside of this system. That one is stretching west of Warrenton up towards Bowling Green. You see there are some spots with some darker green shadings here throughout parts of the metro area. There have been a few places that have picked up close to a half an inch or a little more of rain, but most of us are below that. Lambert, they're still operating the flights despite the fact this evening that we do have rain in St. Louis and the low clouds and the visibility. Showers will be moving out overnight, likely before daybreak. The clouds, though, they're slower to depart, and it's a gusty breeze to go along with that chilly weather tomorrow. We'll see in a few minutes. We'll talk more about Thanksgiving.
Tonight, a woman is in critical condition. Her leg had to be amputated after being hit by a suspected drunk driver in North St. Louis County. Now her family is calling for justice. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski is live in Clayton, where St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell is pledging to hold the driver accountable. Laura.
Mike, St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell says the driver has been charged with 2 counts of driving while under the influence, leaving the scene of an accident, endangering a child, and driving with a revoked license. According to court records, the driver, this isn't the first time he's been caught driving under the influence. Artricia Wilson says her mom, Marcella Wilson, was standing near her car by the trunk on Barron Drive Saturday evening when another car came flying down the road.
When he came around the corner, it hit her and pinned her up against, and he was on this side. So I'm trying to figure out why you're speeding.
Police say a witness saw the driver, Otis Goff, speeding and swerving before crashing into the 72-year-old woman, causing her to lose her left leg and have extensive surgery on her right leg.
She's in good spirits. She's fighting. We're fighting along right with her. We're not giving up. We're praying for her.
Police say Goff was drunk and had 2 children in the car at the time of the crash. One got out before he drove away from the scene, with the other child still in the car. Investigators say he then drove to his home on Lucas and Hunt Road, where a neighbor called police after seeing the damage to Goff's car. Windshield broken, front dented, and even blood on the car. St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell says they acted as quickly as possible to make sure no one else was hurt.
We are going to do everything in our power to hold this defendant accountable, and we hope that if people are listening, do not get behind the wheel of a car if you've been drinking or using any kind of drugs, and if you see someone, stop them.
Goff is also facing charges for another DWI in 2021 and had an order of protections against him as recently as this summer. Bell says, unfortunately, unless someone is behind bars, it's tough for law enforcement to stop people from driving drunk.
And unless we are able to assign officers to individuals, there's only so much that we can do. There's only so much that law enforcement can do.
Goff is now behind bars on a $350,000 cash bond. He's scheduled to be in court next week for a bond reduction hearing. Reporting live in Clayton, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
New tonight, a registered sex offender is back behind bars charged with child molestation. Police say he's with 2 young victims at Elephant Rock State Park. State Park Rangers arrested 43-year-old Michael Barton of Bismarck, Missouri last week. Investigators say a search of his phone revealed evidence showing the children were sexually abused. Barton was convicted of possession of child pornography in Granite City back in 2008. The city of St. Louis is potentially out hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue since October. The city failed to file paperwork with the state in time to collect sales tax on recreational marijuana. New tonight, 5 on Your Side's Andy Krall spoke with marijuana experts about what went wrong. Andy.
Well, back in April, a proposition passed to add an additional 3% sales tax in St. Louis City. It was meant to go into effect on October 1st, but the mayor's office tells me that the proper notification to marijuana purveyors and the required documentation to Missouri's Department of Revenue weren't submitted in time.
Frustrated is an understatement. I mean, look, we just came through a very tough budget cycle where we were looking at some, really stark figures here.
Initial estimates show about $500,000 lost due to the administrative oversight,
Which is a very significant amount of money for a city that needs every penny it can get.
City staff finally filed the necessary paperwork last week. A statement from the St. Louis mayor's office explains that, quote, while state law does not specifically define who is responsible for submitting the required documents to the Department of Revenue, the bottom line is that St. Louis will be precluded from collecting the additional 3% sales tax on cannabis products. That is unacceptable.
It's totally within their discretion how to spend that 3% sales tax revenue, whereas the 6% statewide sales tax is specifically allocated to 3 purposes.
The owner of Starbuds Dispensary in University City says an average order is about $50 to $70.
Missouri enjoys their cannabis, and so they may have missed out for a couple months, but they will be getting their money once everything gets in order.
The Missouri Department of Revenue has filed a special waiver to begin collecting revenue on January 1st.
I mean, this is absolutely a preventable misstep, and I'm hoping that we can kind of get to the bottom of it in our budget committee. We can get to the bottom of what exactly happened here, what went wrong, and make sure that we have clearly defined roles in our city departments that can prevent something like this from happening ever again.
The St. Louis Budget Committee will be meeting next week on November 29th. They're going to be talking about staffing shortages and how that may have impacted this lack of filing paperwork for the city's new marijuana sales tax. Mike?
Annie, thanks. Developing tonight, the Missouri Supreme Court will not hear Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft's appeal on the language of abortion ballot summaries. He was seeking to overturn a lower court's ruling that changed the wording on several petitions for next year's ballot that would enshrine abortion rights in Missouri's Constitution. Ashcroft says they would allow for dangerous, unregulated, and unrestricted abortions. The ACLU says the repeated rejections of Ashcroft's arguments show his case has no legal bearing. A charity organizer who's fed and clothed countless families in the St. Louis area now needs help herself this Thanksgiving. New tonight, our Robert Townsend reports a fire destroyed Shanna Poole Jones' home, but not her will to serve.
For the past 4 years, Shayna Poole Jones has been committed to helping others. During the height of the pandemic, Jones lost 6 family members and 4 friends to COVID-19.
I figured I had to do something.
She started a nonprofit called Keep Pushing Incorporated and turned her sadness into service. Shayna collected food, toiletries, and more, sat them on her grab-and-go table on her front lawn in Maplewood, and let people have it all for free.
Early this year, we had started sheltering, helping the St. Louis City shelter people, our unhoused family.
She and her family moved to Hazelwood just 3 months ago, but on November 11th,
a big fire.
And he came around the corner saying, fire, fire.
Her 4-year-old son, Tristan, ran and screamed that to his grandma. Neighbors helped the two get out of their burning house safely. Shayna raced home and saw this.
This right here is rough because I don't have nothing to hold on to but God.
The family's new home is now a pile of charred rubble days before Thanksgiving.
We don't even have a mailbox. When you have to sit up in a hotel room and just look around, it's rough.
Right now, Shayna says she and her insurance company are still waiting to talk to the property owners before she can actually move forward. Meantime, her brand, Keep Pushing, now has new meaning.
We got to keep pushing because if I don't be an example to the people around me that we are able to push as we struggle, who's going to be the example?
And I'm just thankful to be alive.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Neighbors and strangers are helping the family with Thanksgiving food and other necessities. If you'd like to help, we have a link to a GoFundMe page for the family with this story on KSDK.com. Well, the fight card is now set for this year's Guns and Hoses. The official weigh-in took place tonight at River City Casino. The annual boxing and MMA event is Wednesday night at Enterprise Center. It pits police officers on Team Blue against firefighters and EMTs on Team Red. Raising money and department pride are at stake.
It's a big stage. There's a lot of people going to be there. And the biggest thing is all their colleagues are going to be there. So, you know, going back to the firehouse after a loss is pretty tough. So they want to win.
All money raised goes to Backstoppers, which supports the families of first responders killed or seriously hurt in the line of duty. And Wednesday night's event is sold out.